I got to see quite a few films yesterday, and the first one I want to talk about is The Roses. But before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We have daily film content, ranges from reviews, and more. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. The Roses, starring Benedict Cumberbatch. It is based on a novel, The War of the Roses, and the film pretty much is advertised, or if you see the previews, it pretty much plays out to be this romantic comedy about the downfall of a marriage, and we kind of have that end of like they're going through like a divorce, and we're kind of seeing the end of that. Whereas in reality, we kind of have more of a mixed bag. It does open with the tattered part of the marriage or the end part of the marriage, and we kind of have like a before scene, and we kind of have where we kind of get to know these characters throughout their entire relationship, with a more focus on the core part of the years of their marriage. They're married with kids, and we kind of see the downfall of Benedict Cumberbatch's character's career as an architect and the rise of his wife's success as a master chef. Now, the film plays out very much like a romantic comedy. We have a very similar structure to that. It reminds me a lot of Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the sense of the structure in which it plays out. Again, it's not an action film. It is different on that aspect, but I'm talking more or less the core act structure and kind of the storytelling structure. It feels a lot like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It has a very similar tone to that. Now, with that being said, as far as I have not read the novel, I am actually kind of interested in reading this novel the film is based on. It's something I haven't done more recently, but in years past, I would always love seeing a movie, and then if it was based on a novel, reading the novel to see and compare the differences and what kind of was more, or what I liked more, which adaptation I like better. Now, a lot of times, the original work is usually superior, but there are some instances where the film adaptation actually is better than the original novel. But with that being said, getting a little off topic there, but with that being said, I don't know how they would top this because this script is so well written. It has some of the wittiest dialogue and some fantastic pacing. Like throughout the film, if you see the trailers, you have that really witty banter back and forth, and you have some funny moments. But they held back a lot because there is so many funny and enlightening moments throughout this entire script. And Benedict Cumberbatch plays to it so well. And usually you wouldn't see him being a comedic actor. And the way he plays it, though, it's comedic, but he's not trying to be funny. It's so real, and because again, the jokes, they're there, they are funny, but what makes them funny is they're not slapstick jokes. They're very real and very much everyday comments and just everyday situations in which makes that makes it funny. It's because it's so doused in realism. Like a lot of these jokes are based upon this neglect and this envy and this jealousy within this relationship, and you kind of have these marital problems in which they kind of poke fun of, but not in a way where it's cheesy or they're trying to mock them, but they're very real situations, and we get to kind of see this couple and them try to work out their issues from the sidelines, which kind of gives us this unique perspective, which makes it kind of funny. Kind of to quote Reality Bites, life is always funnier when it's happening to someone else. So that's kind of where this film goes with it. It's very much, you kind of see these issues and problems they're having, but it's funny because it's happening to somebody else. It's very much played out in that tone, which again, the direction is so well done. I mean, the pacing is damn near perfect. There is no moments in which really feel like it drags on, or there's any moments that just feel like they run on too long. And again, with movies like this, sometimes you'll have films where there's really dull, dry spells. Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, I think it was called. I saw that a couple months back. That film, again, was a romantic comedy. And it wasn't a bad film, but there was moments in which you kind of had these long drags of scenes that just felt dull and kind of dry, whereas in this one you don't have those dull and dry moments. It's very witty and well paced. You have a lot of great cameos, and there's just so much fun to be had here, and they have a lot of fun with this film. Now, overall, the film is just witty, and honestly, I'm going to say we're on track to see a revival of romantic comedies. We saw it back in 2023 with Sydney Sweeney as Anyone But You, which, fun fact, she actually had to make Madam Web in order to get that movie made. Like, that was in her contract. She wanted to get Anyone But You made so bad that she was like, okay, I'll do a Madam Web if you greenlight Anyone But You. And that's when, in a couple of interviews, she said that, she was just there doing a job when people were shitting on Madam Web. And, to her, it was not just a job, but it was also an opportunity. I did that for the studios, and they let me make Anyone But You, which was really the start of the revival of romantic comedies. And earlier this year, we had Materialistics with Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and of course, Pedro Pascal. And that kind of gave us a different look at the romantic comedy. It had a similar structure. A lot of people arguing it's not a romantic comedy, it's more of a dramedy. And yes, it was I would argue it is a romantic comedy, but it's a more sophisticated romantic comedy, and one that really kind of tilted the scope on what we see as romantic comedies. But with The Roses, I feel, again, it's a top tier romantic comedy, one that tilts the camera just a little bit, or tilts the lens a little bit more into a sophisticated version of romantic comedy, but not so much as Materialistics. It's kind of that sweet spot between Anyone But You and Materialistics as far as being a romantic comedy with a new twist. And I honestly could not praise this movie enough. I absolutely love it. I think it is one hell of a romantic comedy, and I will say this one deserves a full price without question. Go into this film, pay your full price ticket, you're not going to be disappointed. This was probably my favorite film of the day I saw. Of the three films I saw, this one definitely exceeded expectations, where the other ones did not. So with that being said, have you saw the film? What are your thoughts? Comment below. Let me know.